Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome co-founder and CTO of Magento, Yoav Kutner.
Hello, everyone. If I can just have my notes up here. Yeah, great. Hi, everyone, and thank you for being here with me. I want to talk a little bit about Magento, how we started, where we came from, what we've been doing so far, and what we're actually working for the near future. So Magento, the product and the company, came from a small company called Varian. Varian was established in 2001, and like many other companies at the time, we were a custom web design company or web application company that was creating custom applications for people that were contacting us. We did anything from POS systems, CMS systems, custom intranets, and slowly started focusing on e-commerce. We started using open source applications because it made sense to us. They were free, they were easy to customize, and we started adopting them. Particularly, we chose one that's called X.commerce. By any chance, does anybody know X.commerce here? Who developed something on X.commerce or a website? Okay, there's a bunch of you. So you know our pain. So as we started getting more and more into e-commerce, our customers grew, they became more successful, they were more demanding. At one point, we actually had an implementation that had 18 websites worldwide, tied to 25 online POS systems, and a call center with about 120 attendees, all working off an original small X.commerce implementation. That was a nightmare. So as we discovered that more and more we get in bigger projects, we started looking for other alternatives to that platform. And like many other companies, we couldn't find anything to replace what we were using. So we decided that we'll create our own implementation. And in 2006, we had a great year, but by that time it was already too urgent, and we started working on our own platform. And because we knew open source, and we thought, well, let's try and release it under an open source license and see what happens. Maybe some other companies will pick up our product and start using it with us, and maybe they'll help us develop it. So in 2007, we actually launched our community around the idea of Magento. We still didn't have the product, and actually before we launched even one single line of code, we had tens of thousands of community members on our community website. That just proved to us how big the need is for a new platform out there. So we got really, really excited and started working even harder. And in 2008, we actually launched our first stable community edition, Magento 1.0. Adoption was amazing. We were actually amazed by the number of stores that just started popping up all over the place using our platform. In our wildest dream, we couldn't imagine this success. But with that, we started getting contacted by bigger merchants, Fortune 500 companies that were using our free open source solution. But they were asking for more. They were asking for a commercial product. They were asking for a relationship with the vendor behind the application. They were asking for support and warranties. And to answer that, a year later, we launched our Magento Enterprise Edition. The idea behind Magento Enterprise is that it gives exactly what the demand was in the market. For this cream of the crop, we gave a better optimized solution, a little bit more features, and we bundled it with support, warranties, and transparency into our roadmap so people can make business decisions. In 2010, we actually, because Magento was so successful, renamed the company to Magento. And we actually replaced our Varian logo with the new Magento logo. And if you see, the bottom part of the logo is actually the V from Varian, just to remind us where we come from. This is who we are. We started off pretty much like any other people that are developing on our platform. We also launched our first offering for native apps for mobile devices. Beginning of this year, we actually had our first international conference in Los Angeles, where our headquarters is. And we were joined by over 800 attendees, where we included developers, merchants, partners. And I want to tell you, we had a lot of fun. And if you don't believe me, check out the pictures from that event. We'll be more than happy. If you have never joined us to an event, come join us next time we have this event. We also announced and launched our first SaaS offering of Magento, or Magento in the cloud, called Magento Go. And we'll talk a bit more about it later. When it comes to adoption of Magento, this survey tested the top 1 million sites listed on Alexa and found that over 20% of the e-commerce sites on this list are on Magento. By far, we are the leading e-commerce platform out there right now, regardless of open source or not. We are the one that has the most adoption today in the market. Thank you. But we're not stopping there. The growth is continuous. And this is where we are today. Last month only, we had 18% increase on this list. So this is tremendous for us and for everybody that's using our platform. So I talked about open source and why it was important for us. So when we came to develop Magento, we actually built it with open source in mind. We used open source to develop our product, and we actually developed it as an open source platform. That starts for what we used to build it. So we used PHP 5, the most used programming language to develop web applications in the world, and primarily PHP 5. We built it on top of the Zen framework, itself a very, very successful open source project, one of the leading PHP frameworks out there, with a very good community, a very large community, and a professional company behind it, Zen. We also offer MySQL by default as the default database for Magento. But when we built the architecture, it was important for us that people will be able to extend Magento and use it as they see fit. So we built into the application, into the architecture, a way to separate where our core code lives and where our community and local modules and extensions should be developed. So there's always this clear separation, what is the core and what is your extensions. And this is very important, because if you remember working with the other platforms, usually would go in and just delete the line, add your own lines, and then when there's a new code, again, it doesn't make sense. So we had this clear definition. We also used object-oriented programming, pretty much the first application in the PHP world to use that in so advanced mode. And we used patterns as well to allow to extend Magento. Modularity was built in. We wanted people to create modules. You know, we didn't want to work so hard. We wanted the community to start creating some of the features. Event-driven architecture, again, to allow easier integrations with the system, and vast core API to support web services. We also built a lot of flexibility into design and look and feel. And for us, what tells us that we succeeded with this is that even our developers, our core developers that were there from day one, sometimes look at a website and ask themselves, are you sure this is Magento? And sometimes we have to do view source and look for some tags, or we try to run some controller, and then we find out if it is. So again, very, very flexible front ends. No merchant wants to look the same or as if they're using the same application. So I talked about a few of the products and when we released them, but let's dig a little bit deeper into them. Before we do that, though, I want to say that all of our products actually have both merchants and developers and our partners in mind when we build them. We built for merchants very advanced marketing tools that allow them to create very sophisticated promotions. We have one of the most flexible product catalog in the market for any e-commerce application. We learned from our experience as developers that no merchant will create the same schema for the catalog. And one of the things that I used to do the most when I was developing was change the schema of the previous platform we worked on. Time after time again, can you change this from name to product name, and et cetera. So we said, why do we have to do it? You, as developers, or as the merchant itself, once he learns, can set up these trivial things that are required from the system. When it comes to our enterprise product, we have 2 minor releases every year, with 2 maintenance releases between them. Every minor release has a vast number of new features that are added to the product. Some of them from our last Enterprise 1.11 release are listed right here. And one of them in particular that's also available in one format to the community, on the community edition, is the persistent shopping. A very simple concept, but very, very powerful. The idea is easy. Somebody sits at work, maybe he's going to try and browse some merchant's website and start shopping. And I know all of you don't do that. I'm not saying you shop while you're working, but some do. And they might start adding products to cart, view some products, read some reviews, and then the boss walks in and shut down the browser like nothing happened. On the way home, they might get an email from you on the mobile device, and I know nobody reads their email while they're driving, but we heard that some people do. And they might add another product to the cart on the mobile device, but then the light turns green and they go. By the time they get home, They might say, well, it would be nice if I would go back to that store and check out with everything I added to the cart. And they do. If they have at least logged in on any device, on one browser on that device, we'll remember some of their session information there. And then we can persist that session across devices and browsers that they use. By looking at the website that they've logged into, they'll see the previously viewed items, they'll see products in their shopping cart, and then can continue to the checkout, required login just before we show them any private information. So again, very simple but powerful feature for merchants. Another thing we learned from our experience is that when merchants try a new platform or decide to go online, they never know how successful they'll become. And we found time and time again that a lot of the merchants that contacted us as a development company was to re-platform to a better, more scalable application. We wanted merchants to have the options to choose a platform that will scale with them. So we built scalability into Magento. I have here a real nice story of Zini Optical, developed by One Pika, which is right here today. You can go and say hello to them. And Zini Optical came to One Pika with some demands. They wanted to re-platform, moving off one of the other open source platforms out there. And they wanted to have this very flexible front-end and customized approach where people can actually test their glasses and to see how they look. And if I would wear glasses, I promise you these are not the ones I would pick, but our designer decided I look good with that. But they also came with the problem of scalability. Their previous platform plateaued, and they could not get any more orders in there, even though their business was becoming more and more successful. By moving to Magento and working with one of our partners, they were able to increase their orders by 30%. They today get anywhere between 4,000 to 5,000 orders per day and up to 80,000 page views, unique page views on their website. Another nice story is Home Perfect. Started as a small website and bought only what they needed, one web node and one database server. That was sufficient for them right there. But then with another partner of us, one of our good hosting partner, Peer One, they were able to do some tweaks as the website became more and more popular, as they got more and more orders. And some of the tweaks are listed here, but these are things that anybody can do pretty easily to get the Magento scalable to suit the needs of any merchant. And that's what's important to remember. Magento will scale with the needs of your customers, with the need of your merchants. So I talked about Magento Mobile, and that is our native applications that are offered for the different devices today. So a lot was talked about mobile, and you saw people pulling phones out of their pockets and showing you what the future is. So we said, you know, we're not going to take a stance for that. Well, why not offer this if you believe that this is where the future is, and we do? Why not offer a really good user experience for people that offers native functionality of the mobile devices they're on? Today we offer an iPhone, iPad, and Android devices application, native applications. For a very low price, you can buy those off our website, and we will submit those to the different marketplaces and maintain them for you. It is also very, very customizable directly from your Magento admin. You can control the look and feel, the catalog, the prices, etc., without the need to resubmit the application. Very, very flexible way of working with a native app directly from your Magento admin. We're actually adding new exciting features to this offering, and we're going to have, for example, an offline catalog mode, specifically for seasonal catalogs where it makes sense, where the catalog doesn't change day by day. It makes sense that you download the catalog once, and then a user can view it for the next 3 months until it gets updated again. They can browse it even if they don't have internet connection. From day one, we actually released with Magento a mobile-optimized theme. Magento has a very nice feature built into it that it can detect the user agent of any browser or client that gets to a Magento website. Just by setting a rule that for a specific client we serve a different theme than your regular theme, you're able to give a better user experience to people that might hit a website directly from a mobile device. You can set numerous of those, as many as you want actually, for different devices, give different experiences. And we're actually continuing to work on that, and hopefully soon we'll start releasing the new version of that that incorporates a lot of the HTML5 libraries that are available today with more enhanced user experience and more native features that are native to mobile devices. Magento Go, our first SaaS or Magento in the cloud offering. It's for we're targeting right now small merchants with big ambitions. Magento Go is powerful and it's hosted. We built some features in there that do not require merchants that are new to e-commerce and new to technology to struggle with. We release it with many professional design teams that are customizable through a CSS-based theming approach. The same flexibility that we offer for our deployed products are offered the same for Go, so the power is there. We added inline translation that with a point and click, you can change any text on the front end, and you can drag and drop page blocks from side to side. For example, take the mini shopping cart, drag it from upper right corner down to the left corner. We have more support for different payment options, and PCI compliance environment. That takes one of the biggest headaches from merchants today. It comes bundled with support and education, so our merchants are successful. And as you heard today from Roy this morning, now there's also Magento extensions available, and that's where all the developers come in. We released Magento Go primarily in the US, but as Magento took off, same is evident here. The adoption is worldwide, and as such, we're going to start rolling more and more support around the world. Starting with the EU over the next weeks and months, you'll see more and more countries where Magento Go will be offered. We launched in February, and today we have over 10,000 stores on our platform today. We've been asked time and time again, what makes Magento successful? How did we make this thing, right, that came from an idea we had, so live and growing, etc.? And the answer is have a successful ecosystem around your product. If the ecosystem is there, you're guaranteed to succeed. Build the need and people will fill it. We have great developers. We have great merchants. We have SIs, system integrators, that are able to customize Magento beyond we can even not recognize it sometimes. We have partners, industry partners, that know how to scale Magento, how to run Magento in the best way possible. But I mentioned to you before, to be a successful open source project, you have to have a big community behind you. We cannot exist as an open source project without a community. Our community is one of the biggest around the PHP open source project. Over 500,000 people have signed up, and we have over 4 million downloads of our community edition product. This number is continuing to grow constantly. And I hope that if you're not part of it, I hope to see you there soon. To interact with our community, we have forums, knowledge base, wiki, and we actually launched what we call Magento Answers. That's where Magento community members can ask questions and get answered directly from the community itself, from people that already know the answers or have figured it out before. We also have our code repositories up there, so you are free to look at our development and where we are and actually download our products. If you don't want to only interact digitally, you can join us at one of our world events. I really, really like the Developer Paradise events, and Thomas, if you're here, you should ask him when the next one is. So the first two events happened in Spain, one in Mallorca and one in Ibiza. So if anybody likes some sun, a lot of fun, and some code, this is the place to be, and maybe we'll see you there next time. So sometimes I've been told that I don't express my emotions enough. And to show how passionate I am about this next topic, I want Mr. Ballmer to help me out here.
Developers, 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 developers.
You can dance if you want. Well, Mr. Ballmer and I don't always see eye to eye, especially when it comes to licensing. But we do agree. Developers and a successful developer community and ecosystem around our product is what's going to make us successful. I don't jump and dance around the stage, but inside, that's how I feel. I am a developer. I used to develop a lot of code. Thank you. And I want you to be successful around us. And I promise you that will only make us more successful. Being a Magento developer today has a lot of opportunity. We hear personal stories almost on a daily basis where people tell us that they quit their day jobs, some even as rock stars, to become Magento developers because it's more profitable. And maybe you will get introduced to more people. We hear people that are 100% working on Magento today and making a lot of money. We also heard companies that ditched everything else they did just to create extensions for Magento. There are hundreds of jobs posted daily for Magento developers. Here on Odesk, for example, if you go to Odesk trends, you can see that the Magento trend is only growing. We have over 500 new job posts a month on Odesk, and that's just one website. So if you want opportunity, if you're looking where you should invest your time and what platform you should learn, I can argue Magento. We're open source, and we like you to contribute back to us. You're working with our products on the day-to-day basis, and sometimes you even know better than us what happens to Magento in the real world. So we launched what we call the MCA, or the Magento Contributor Agreement, and that once you sign that as developers, you're able to contribute code back to us. We're then able to accept security patches, performance enhancements, and bug fixes. And once we review the code, we put it back in the repository and make it available for everybody on the next release. But we don't want you to submit new features. We don't. Magento's core has a lot of features. But if you do want to submit features, and we do want you to do that, but not directly to the core, we want you to do that on Magento Connect. Magento Connect is our extension marketplace. This is where you can be as creative as you want. Override, change, edit, do whatever you want with Magento and put it right there. People will use it, will give you feedback, and there's a whole new ecosystem built around Magento Connect. To date, we have over 4,800 extensions. And the surprising thing for us that over 3,500 of those are paid extensions developed by commercial companies. We have over 500 commercial companies creating extensions. And I heard the question before, and maintaining them. You can check it out. A lot of these extensions are maintained on a regular basis with our release process. So I encourage you, again, opportunity is there. Be creative with Magento, and build extensions for Magento. Today, and you can check it out right now online, we launched our new version of Magento Connect. Yeah. A lot of people worked really hard for this, so. And the new Magento Connect is just the beginning. We want to offer much more opportunities for developers, much more option for merchants. What we launched today is availability for have a detailed extension parts of the website, including videos and screencasts of what the actual extension does. We'll have featured extensions opportunities across the whole marketplace. We'll have a customizable page for a developer that was requested by many of the Magento Connect developers that you can list on that who you are, what you do, what else is available, so merchant can interact with you. But one of the biggest things we launched today is the trusted extension. This is a new level of extensions when it comes to Magento. Up to today, you would use extensions at what we call use at your own risk. We didn't see them, we didn't check if they work, and if you had any issues, you had to go look for the developer that worked on them. Today, we will have a new level called trusted extensions. These are extensions that go through code review by core developers. Once they pass the code review, they will get this level of trusted extension, and it will require a developer to maintain those extensions. Once we see that there's no maintenance, or we'll hear enough complaints about it, it will lose the status of an extension and will no longer be a trusted extension. This is a great opportunity for developers because trusted extensions means for merchant that this is a higher level of extension. It's verified by our own team, guaranteed to work. But that's not it. Roy mentioned it today, but from now on, if you develop an extension and achieve a trusted extension status, you'll be able to sell your extension to the wide range of Magento merchants. Not only Magento deployed solution, but also Magento Go customers will now be able to use your extensions. And this is a great opportunity for all of you. So if by now I didn't convince you to be a Magento developer, I hope you will think about it, but if you did, and if you think that it's time to start learning Magento, we launched and announced this year Magento U, or the Magento University. Magento U offers many different classes and training programs to make you more knowledgeable with our platform, if you don't know it. And if you do, to take you to the next level and teach you even the deeper secrets of Magento and how to become even more successful when working with the application. And today we're announcing not only the in-class, but we also have on-demand training that you can now take from the comfort of your own home without coming over to one of our classes. This is great. You don't have to see us if you don't want to, and you can still enjoy this high level of classes that we offer. Since we launched Magento U, one of the biggest requests we had was for a Magento certification program. This is what's going to allow developers that achieve this status to differentiate themselves in the huge numbers of developers that either claim or have a very low knowledge of our application. And for merchants, it will allow them to pick somebody, a developer, that knows what he's doing. This certification program is launched today, and the first beta exam is going to be offered right here at Innovate. If there's still room and you have to check online because it's getting sold really quick, you can go online, register, and take the beta exam tomorrow. You might be one of the first certified Magento developers in the world. The size of the Magento community is estimated, ecosystem is estimated at $1 billion. So now you should be convinced that you should join us. And please do. Going back to our timeline, one of our most exciting news of this year was that eBay decided to acquire Magento. We're now part of this bigger, richer family called X.commerce. There's going to be a lot of new benefits to Magento developers and merchants. New opportunities for everyone. And some of it you saw in Neil's presentation. Ease of development and standards and hosting, something we could not offer you before. Better monetization through technology and services, and much, much more. So you've seen this layered cake on Neil's presentation, and you probably already saw where we fall. But we are going to be one of the merchant products, but not one-off. Probably the best of breed. We're working very, very close with X.commerce to make sure you get the best experience, both as a merchant and as a developer, when it comes to integrating Magento and the fabric. We're going to be listed among other cards. You might have heard that, and somebody asked that. That's just going to make us work harder to stay number one. All right, so you have our commitment for the next few years. We're going to stay number one when it comes to an e-commerce platform offering on this platform. So we've seen where we are, but I want to show you a little bit of what we were working on. The Magento Go platform, again announced earlier this year, and some of it through the trusted extension, is already available as of today. But we're working on the next generation of Magento Go platform. We're working on the ability to build once and deploy everywhere. That does not only mean for extension, that also means for local customization. Your customers, your merchants, as developers, will now be able to use their customizations both on our deployed products and on our on-demand SaaS cloud products. We're going to create development environments for developers where they can test extensions across the different offerings that we have. Again, a lot of exciting stuff coming throughout 2012, so stay tuned for more about that. For me, the most exciting news of this year that we announced was the availability, or the fact that we started working, that we started working on our second major version, Magento 2. If you know anything about Magento, we make a commitment to our ecosystem that we will not break backwards compatibility within a major version. And we're running now on Magento 1X. That means that within upgrades, we discover some things that we have to work around. But we promise you that we're not going to break the backwards compatibility. Moving to a new major version allows us to use everything we learned of what is good, and a lot of what we did wrong or we can improve on. And with not needing to keep backwards compatibility, we can now fix. So a little bit of what we are working on. A major point, though, is that we decided to do a refactor rather than a complete rewrite. And a lot of people were asking us about this, and why did we decide that? Well, the fact is we have this big ecosystem around this product. We have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of developers using our product. We didn't want to make you have to learn everything again. So this is going to be a big refactoring of the application. You're going to see many more improvements, but it is going to be the Magento you know. We're going to improve on our processes to be clear and transparent to our community. We're going to have tools for you to daily monitor what we do. We're going to have so much documentation that people are going to complain that Magento has too much documentation, which is a good thing for us. We're going to improve product quality, both for us and for your customization, by releasing a list of automated test suites. We're going to improve the product performance, improve the web API coverage, support multiple RDBMSs out of the box. We're going to improve the modularity of the product by introducing a new concept called components. And I'll try and make sense of it in the 30 seconds I have for this. The idea is pretty simple. Within a component, and let's think about the catalog as a component, modules are going to be tightly coupled, meaning they have to work together as a unit. But between components, for example, between the catalog and the customer component, there does not have to be any kind of coupling. That means that you potentially can plug out the customer component of Magento and replace it with your own, or use the catalog as a standalone component if you want. Again, a huge improvement to the modularity of the product. We're also going to simplify the customization process. We hear time and time again that Magento is so flexible that there's so many ways of doing the same task. We want it to be clear of what is the right way to do something, so you don't guess. We're going to improve the multiple language support out of the box. Again, because of the global adoption of Magento, we have to. We have a responsibility to support thousands of stores all over the world. A quick teaser. This is on our internal system. We benchmark every day the development, and we find that we already have over 20% improvement in performance when benchmarking Magento 2 versus Magento 1. So a big step forward for us. So if you want to learn more about Magento, I highly, highly encourage you to visit our breakout sessions. If you want to learn more of how to develop, how we build Magento, what's the reasoning for some of the architectural decisions we made, go and visit one of these breakout sessions. If you want to learn more about Magento 2, don't miss the Magento 2 technical overview. So I personally, and I know the rest of our team at Magento, really hope that what you're going to see here and learn over the next 2 days will allow you to make your own Magento success story. And once you do, please share it back with us. Thank you very much.